Very good afternoon and welcome back to AW Services. In today's video I'll be talking about hose reels for water-fed pole. If you're starting out for the first time and you've chosen the hose that you wish to use, the best tip and suggestion I have for getting your hose onto a hose reel for the first time is to lay it out in a room with plenty of space. If you can do so, I just happen to have an empty room at the moment. Lay it out on the floor, get your heating on when it comes on at night, and the heat in the room will soften the hose up and take out some of the memory within it from when it was actually manufactured and reeled up into spools for shipping. Also, once you've established a hose connection to your reel, there is nothing stopping you putting hot, warm tap water and flowing it through the hose and allowing it to come out the other end. Not too hot water, but just warm enough to make the hose more supple and pliable, and it will reel up much easier. So talking about hose reels, for example, I have the Claber Ground 40 hose reel, all metal construction. It suits my needs and it does what it says it does on the box. I'm happy with it, so therefore it's all good. So with your hose reel, when you come to connect up micro bore hose, so for example, this is Streamline's high-vis hose. It's 100 meter long and it's a 6mm inner ID. So to connect that onto this Claber hose reel, which has your normal hose lock style adapter, male adapter, it's hard to actually get it to work. So for example, you can buy very cheap, affordable hose lock style adapters which take micro bore hose. It works, but they become quite brittle in the winter and the tops of the actual insides snap off. The same again with the Claber. I believe this is like 9 to 13 millimeters. Focus, you fuck. So that will work, but also I'm using small bore PU hose, which is actually going over the adapter inside, and the orange PU hose is purely, get it to focus, purely to take up some of the wobble and the play in the collar. If you don't secure these properly to your hose reel and you unreel every millimeter of hose you have, these will snap and shear off. So what I've done, I'm using, for example, a bog standard Claber hose lock style connector. Looking into my reel, so I'm using the black version that goes on to some I believe it's 12mm PVC braided reinforced hose, the same bore diameter as garden hose. I have a plastic reducer in there, which I believe again is 12 to 7mm. And then I've doubly O-clipped that to ensure a tight seal. It's in a straight line as well, so there's no kinks. And I've also drilled and put inside of the reel a 12mm, if you can see it there, 12mm P-clip with rubber sleeve. And that takes the strain and works as a strain relief. So if you pull out all your hose, you're not straining your hose lock connector and your barb fittings inside to snap those off. So anything you do now precautionary will work with you in your favour later. So there are many types of hose on the market. You've got your standard cheap garden hose, you know, 10, 12mm ID. Lots of different reducers and bushings and all sorts of things you can get. You know, these are, I believe these are 10 to 7mm. These are 7 to 7s. And just looking at a cross section, the camera will focus. If you look at the cross section here of the Streamline high-vis braided hose, you can see, there we go. You can see that it has a white soft inner diameter and then the yellow braided exterior. It's quite hard, this white rubber, at normal temperatures. And when I say hard, it's durable and it does what it's intended to do. But when you're getting it to fit onto a barb reducer, for example, you really need to make sure you go up a size. So if the inner diameter of the hose is 6 millimeters, you really want to be going for a 7 or an 8. Heat the hose up with some warm water in a mug or very hot water. Use some washing up liquid or use a bit of lube. There's nothing worse than going in dry. And really push home hard that barb fitting into the hose, because otherwise it will not grip, and you need to make sure you have a really tight connection.